Of course, when tensions are high, Fox News wants to make the situation worse. So Laura Ingraham, yes, her, she decides to show up to Minneapolis to try to rage bait antagonize protesters. Let's go ahead and check this clip out, but first, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's get to it, y'all. Here we go. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and play the clip.
Talking to people to try to get a clearer picture of the story, which is what we did today in Minneapolis. Right now, there are about 300 people here, fairly peaceful. I guess some Antifa are back there, but we're gonna have
She don't know if it's no goddamn Antifa there. She literally just pulled that out her ass. Oh yeah, there might be some Antifa. There ain't no Antifa there.
fires, food, water, a lot of people in masks, but people are coming out and expressing themselves. It kind of takes on almost a community civic event. I wouldn't say celebration, but it's a gathering. And although
now, as I understand, they were gathered around the scene where Renee Good, the woman who was shot, that's where, or not just shot, murdered, that's where they were. That's what I understand that to be from looking up online. So her saying, well, I guess it's like a celebration. Well, I don't know. Again, the propaganda that Fox, there's going to be a special place in hell for these people. Let me continue. I'm sorry.
it was pretty peaceful, like, and it really was. I mean, in that vigil, it was basically people, you know, they had a fire, they were giving out food, water, and, you know, some people were chanting. So that was fine. But if you actually go into the mix and try to chat with people, you end up getting escorted out. And they kind of nicely, but aggressively escort you out across their border. So then we headed over to the Whipple Federal Building where Garrett just was. And earlier in the day, you saw some of those, you know, those conflicts between the ICE officers and the protesters were there. And things there, well.
By the way, it was their border to try to keep the police out. That's why they had a quote unquote border.
Got a little more interesting.
That. To the human race.
Why are you wearing a mask? Why are you wearing a mask?
Because my nose is cold. Why do you care if I'm wearing a mask?
I'm just curious. It's a question.
Agitators!
This is the crowd. And they apparently are policing their borders. So they're policing their borders here, which is fascinating.
Shame! Shame!
Oh, well, it's so boring.
Shame! Shame!
Do you have a job? Do you have a job?
Shame! Shame! I'm getting paid right now.
Well, and as we were leaving in our vehicle.
Why do you have a mask on? Because it's cold. That she thought she got her, like, because basically, again, remember when she was all like, Antifa is there? She was trying to throw out like, oh, they got masks on because they're going to be loitering or doing something. Again, the propaganda that they do. And also, she was saying shame because what are you doing there trying to antagonize these people? This is why they didn't want you there, because they know what you're trying to do. And she couldn't say they got violent or anything. That's why she was like, oh, it was mostly peaceful. Like, oh, well, they were rude, but, you know, it wasn't that bad. Yeah.
They, you know, they did what they can do. They gave us all the finger. I think they secretly liked us, though. But a few observations here. So the protests are always smaller than they look on TV. Many of the folks there seem like they do this for recreation. And there are others that are truly mourning and really upset. And others seem to be people who just don't believe the United States should have any borders. But again, they sure do aggressively police their own borders.
Notice how, like, the scenes that they're showing, that's not the same area that she was at. They purposely go to certain areas where they know they'll be fine. She wasn't in no hostile environment at all. Like, this was trying to show, oh, look, they're violent, they're destroying the city, blah, blah, blah. They're trying to push a narrative like always.
And while, again, there were plenty of people there just peacefully protesting, there are just as many people out there who seem like lifelong members of the agitator industrial complex. You heard that one woman, unclear whether she was joking or not, saying she was paid for being there. Huh, interesting. So even if they're not throwing stuff or physically blocking ICE, disrespecting law enforcement, a lot of them just seem perpetually pissed off. Well, and I wonder why. As we see with what's happening in this more horrible news out of.
So again, she tried to push the narrative like, oh, well, she might have been paid. What she was saying, I'm getting paid right now because Laura tried to throw, oh, you know, do you have a job? Because it's under the assumption that these people don't work or they don't have a life, right? So, oh, do you have a job? And she said, I'm getting paid right now. Now, this woman can be an entrepreneur. She can be a content creator. You don't know what kind of job she has. Like, how do you know that she doesn't work? Or why would you assume that she's being, quote unquote, paid? Come on now.
Portland tonight, rage is being stoked, and it's mostly being stoked by a party with no solutions.
They wanted a moment like this, and look, it happened.
We should not have ICE agents patrolling our streets. They're not needed. They create chaos, and they even create deaths.
There are going to be protests around this entire country because of the state-sanctioned execution that we all saw.
Blood is clearly on the hands of those individuals within the administration.
ICE has been carrying out state-sanctioned violence in our communities. We have seen them terrorize so many of citizens.
But the worst of the worst today was a slimy comment by the ever odious Tim Walz, governor of this state, claiming that he wants to calm things down. And then he invokes a Nazi threat.
We're at one of those inflection points that simply asking our government to give us accountability, listen to local leaders, ratchet down the rhetoric, let people feel safe. We remembered, many of us in here in sophomore, when we read it, that the party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most important directive. It certainly feels like that in this moment.
So what's interesting about this is that he's trying to say, they're trying to claim Tim Walz is doing some bullshit, right? But literally in Congress, Ro Khanna, Jasmine Crockett, and a few others were trying to get a bill or a resolution passed to where ICE agents would be held accountable. Because right now, our vice president, J.D. Vance, with his eyeliner and lip gloss on, said that, and it ain't nothing wrong with a man wearing lip gloss and eyeliner. If that's your thing, that's your thing, right? But he said that they have absolute immunity. There's no such thing as absolute immunity, because that means that they can literally do anything. I know they want it that way, but you don't have the right just to do anything. There are laws in place. Like, we're not a lawless country. But I wanted to circle back because, again, this is something that Congress, the Democrats, are trying to address. But you guys wouldn't know that looking at Fox News. Like, they just think like, oh, yeah, they're just saying words. No, Congress is working on that right now. Unfortunately, the Democrats don't have control of the House, so it's hard to get things passed through. But something like accountability, cameras, because the video of Renee Good, her assassination from that officer, Jonathan Ross, or ICE agent, he recorded that on his cell phone. They don't have body cam. Something like that should be required. Body cam, showing proof of a warrant. Take that mask off and stop trying to hide who you are.
Okay, so we want to tamp things down as we keep vilifying law enforcement, federal agents. And I also say, where is the empathy for the ICE officer involved in that shooting yesterday, who, according to the New York Post, was himself dragged and hospitalized by an illegal alien driver last year? The attack on the officer, whom the Post is not naming, happened June 17th in Bloomington, Minnesota, exactly a month after embattled Minnesota Governor Tim Walz labeled ICE agents modern-day Gestapo while speaking at the University of Minnesota Law School graduation. And today, Vice President Vance blasted Democrats and the media for lying about the basic facts.
So what they're trying to do is paint a narrative like the officer had some kind of PTSD and he was in fear of his life and thought she was going to run him over. But if you look at the video, she had the wheel cocked. And what it was is that it's ice on the ground. So the car kind of stalled and then it sped off. But again, he's like on the side of the car. He's not in front of it. So again, his life was not in danger at all. And like I said, we don't need to listen to JD Vance and all his bullshit. So you guys get the point. But again, it's like in these heightened situations, Fox News will find some way of trying to agitate somebody and then hurry up and put them on the news and try to get a story out of it. And thank God that moment, that protest, that visual for Renee Good was peaceful. Because again, if they really got out of line or out of pocket or it got, real crazy, oh, they would have exploited that. They definitely would. Laura was trying to find something to say about those people, and she really couldn't because they didn't give her what she wanted. She wanted this big story so then she could run back and tell, no, it didn't work out that way. Laura, it just makes you look more like an asshole. Oh, we knew that, right? But you guys, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we ain't watching JD Vance. We over. We done. Bye, y'all. Love y'all for all the likes, the subscriptions, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Super thanks. Thank you guys for all of it. I appreciate y'all. We out.